siege on the Demon King's residence. So, there were scary monsters ready to attack some soldiers. But the soldiers panicked because they couldn't hold them back as their attacks were too fierce. All they could do was hope that the hero could defeat the Demon King. They said, is this guy really able to defeat such an evil Demon King after fighting all day? Meanwhile, inside the Demon King's residence, the hero's companion, this woman, collapsed on the floor. Then the Demon King said, "Thank you, hero. I can take control of this place and make it calm." And the hero said, "No, not on my watch, Demon King Moriarty." And the Demon King said, "Let's do this, hero." Plot twist alert. Those are all just comics drawn by our main character, Su Ying-su, a 25-year-old man who makes comics for a living. Today he was fired because his comic, Hero Against the Demon King, had a drop in ratings. His boss told him to finish it today and leave. Sobbing, he muttered, "I'll show you. This last chapter is going to be epic." Determined to make his comic a success, he was hit by a lightning storm that struck his office, frying his work. He thought, seriously, even the universe is against me. But then, his computer screen was still on. He found it strange why only his computer screen was on. Suddenly, he was sucked into his computer screen. He screamed as he was sucked into the screen. There was someone who introduced himself. Her name was Luna, and she was the entrance administrator for Manhwa in this world. She also gave a welcome to Xu, and she will start the guest transfer procedure and start the transfer series. Xu was confused as to where the voice was coming from. What exactly did he mean by entrance administrator? Then she started to burn, but she felt no pain at all. And she landed on a continent called the Pant Continent from her own comic. She said, "Is this real?" Down below, there was a war raging, and the soldiers saw him falling towards the Demon King's residence. He landed there, still not knowing anything, wondering if he was dreaming because he had been working all night. Then he was approached by a hero named Ash, who said, "How could a low-level warrior like you destroy the Demon King's residence?" Xu Ying was shocked to find herself in the comic and panicked when the Demon King appeared. The Demon King said, "Who are these pests? I will crush you too." Then a girl named Tia, Ash's partner, yelled at Xu Ying to leave immediately because a big fight was about to happen. Xu Ying was confused, like, "Wait, why is Tia here? And why is she talking about a fight? That's not how I wrote it." Then the Demon King attacks and Ash takes Thea to save him. Tia cried, asking why Ash sacrificed himself when they needed him to defeat the Demon King. Ash, who was barely holding on, mumbled about his feelings of being compelled to protect Xu Ying in order to save the world. Xu Ying said, "What's wrong, Ash?" Then a huge warning appeared, and Xu Ying said, "What now?" As it turned out, Ash's death made the ranking below the threshold, which meant doom for the world of heroes against Demon Kings. Yu Xing called out the hero's name, but the Demon King only said not to grieve. "His death was my doing. Consider it my contribution to taking over this country." Tina snapped back, saying the Demon King didn't deserve to lead. The Demon King was like, "I don't deserve it. Those jerks who sealed me away 1,000 years ago said the same thing. And now they're dead, while I'm still here." Xu Ying became scared as the Demon King was really angry now. The Demon King continued, "All the heroes in this generation are dead. Why do you still want to stop me? This world will be mine." Tia stepped forward and said, "Even if all the heroes are dead, the Wind Kingdom army will not give up. I won't let you rule the world." The Demon King scoffed, "So troublesome." And with one slash, he sent Tia flying into the wall. He sneered, "You're the #1 witch in the world. Without a hero, you're useless against me. I will kill this little bug first. Then the Queen of the Wind Kingdom will fall and your army will be scattered." The Demon King then turned his gaze to Xu Ying. Xu Ying couldn't move a muscle, even though he desperately wanted to run. Despite all the hardships he faced in life, he had never experienced a life-or-death situation before, especially not from a character he created. He thought, should I really be afraid of him? The Demon King attacked, and Xu Ying somehow dodged, but felt pain as one of his legs was cut off. He cried out in pain. The Demon King mocked, "It's not bad that you can dodge, but how long will your luck last?" Tita shouted, "Stop it. He's just a warrior. Don't kill him." But the Demon King was intent on finishing her off. Xu Ying guessed the Demon King's next move would be to behead him, because that was her character's signature move. When the Demon King attacked, Xu Ying managed to fend him off with Ash's sword. Tia was shocked, wondering how she managed to get Ash's sword. Xu Ying was lucky. He was thrown aside by the sword during the first attack and hit it. However, even though he parried the attack, the sword shattered. Xu Ying thought, "Is it because I'm too weak to unleash its full power?" The Demon King smirked. "Looks like your luck has run out." Xu Ying panicked, having no more plans. He didn't want to die and wailed, "I'm a nobody in the real world. Do I have to beg for my life here too, in the world I created?" He shouted, "I created you." As the Demon King's sword struck, nothing happened to Xu Ying's body. The Demon King started to disappear, asking, "What do you mean, you are our creator? What are you doing to me? This power shouldn't exist in this world." Then he disappeared. But Tia also started to disappear, screaming for help. Xu Ying called her name, but she also disappeared. Not just Tia and Moriarty, but Ash's body and the entire Demon King city also disappeared. Suddenly, a message from the administrator appeared, saying, "Because visitors said a forbidden word, the comic's rating dropped to 0. The world, the hero battles, the Demon King, will vanish. All characters and places will vanish in 1 minute. Visitors must leave immediately." Xu Ying panicked, "How do I get out of here?" Then a message told her to press Ctrl+ key. She thought, "Isn't that the button to exit my drawing software? Will pressing this button take me back home?" She pressed the button, but nothing happened. A message popped up saying that the exit process failed because he had died in the real world due to an electric shock. She was stunned. "I died from an electric shock. What am I now?" Xu Ying's body began to disappear, and she panicked, asking the administrator, "What happens if I disappear?" A message appeared saying that she was going to die, which made her panic even more as there was no way to stop it. Suddenly, a Ctrl+Z button appeared with a message that said, "Press this button to reset the entire comic. And then you can rewrite the author's destiny." He was shocked and said, "Rewrite my destiny." Xu Ying was confused by the message that appeared before him about rewriting his destiny. The message reappeared, explaining that he was already dead in the real world. Only his soul remained here. If his soul vanished, he would face total death. The solution? Press Ctrl+Z to reset the comic and avoid his death. Out of curiosity, Xu Ying asked the administrator if he should start the comic from scratch in 2022. The administrator agreed, mentioning that the old version of the comic would be replaced with a new one. Realizing that he could improve his comics to increase ratings and ensure his survival, Xu Ying agreed to the rearrangement. The administrator warns him that failing to improve the ratings means death. Xu Ying then questions how the administrator knows the comic's rating. The administrator explains that real-time feedback from readers determines life or death for Xu Ying, the writer. Determined to make his comic interesting and escape alive, Xu Ying agrees to a reset. With the button appearing and the countdown beginning, she braced herself, thanking the readers before hitting the reset button. The comic's rating was reset to 5.0, and the main world became balanced as the reset was completed. Suddenly, Xu Ying was awakened by someone, and was surprised to find her previously severed leg still intact. The person reveals that they were worried when she fainted out of nowhere. Xu Ying realized that he should be in the first chapter of the comic. Not here in the Orc Cave as a slave like Ash. The slave owner, Kranz Ricky, appeared and scolded the slaves. When Uncle Ben explained about Xu Ying fainting, Ricky hit him hard, knocking him unconscious. Xu Ying called out to Uncle Ben as Ricky threatened to cut off their hands if they didn't find more ore. Feeling trapped and enslaved by his own character, Xu Ying works hard, realizing that his body is not used to manual labor. She asked Uncle Ben about Ash, but Uncle Ben didn't know who Ash was. Confused and frustrated, Xu Ying wondered why he, not Ash, was the main character now. He refrained from saying the forbidden word again, feeling very confused. Uncle Ben, who noticed Xu Ying's strange behavior, couldn't help but wonder what had changed. Uncle Ben probably couldn't see the window system, so he must have thought Xu Ying had gone crazy for talking to himself. Then, suddenly, a message appeared and told him that he could hear or see Xu Ying's thoughts. He asked if there was some kind of narration box where he could write down what he was thinking. The system replied with yes. Xu Ying muttered, "This is crazy. It feels like I'm actually inside a comic." Right after that, boom. There was an explosion right in front of Xu Ying, making Uncle Ben very surprised, wondering why there were so many strange things happening that day. Xu Ying looked at the hole in front of him and remembered that this didn't happen during an earthquake. It happened when Ash fell, gaining his strength. and continued his journey from a slave to a hero. Why was all that happening now? Is it because Su Ying did different things with Ash, causing the storyline to change? Then, a message from the system appeared, warning him to be careful as his actions could affect the storyline. As the main character, Su Ying knew that he had to make the first chapter very interesting to keep the reader hooked. She tells Uncle Ben that she is going to dive into the hole, and warns him that if he doesn't return within 12 hours, he will be roasted. Uncle Ben was confused by what Su Ying said, but Su Ying jumped into the hole anyway. As he fell, he thought, "I'm the writer and main character of this comic. If I can increase the ratings, I will live. If not, I will die." Talk about a wild ride. And elsewhere, Ash was just floating around.